I'm doing here. If you're here, welcome. If you're here, welcome. Sorry. Boopity boop boop. Had to go fine tune a couple things. Put my phone over here. My name's Calvin. It's Dad's workshop. Working on some leather right now. Sorry. Woodshed by Dan. Welcome, man. Long time no see. Hey, Mike. How you guys doing? Hot here. That's why I'm dressed like this. Try to keep my chat right here. Miss Heather's working, so I don't think I'm going to get help today, amongst many other things. I gotta cut this one hide the most. This is the one that's the worst. It's a buck hide. It's really big, and it's been sitting in really weak tannins while I've been gone for several days. So it almost got to that like rotty kind of a point. So we're gonna have to scrape the mess out of this and get it in strong tannins. This was a really like ruddy buck that you can see it had multiple scars on its this is a big hide too. It probably weighs like 30 pounds or so here wet, but even dried out, it's pretty. I remember removing this hide. It was very heavy. So welcome back, and I'm glad to be back here doing my thing again. A happy New Year to all. Merry Christmas, belated, and all of that. Kevin, welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I should have grabbed a towel. Got my fleshing knife here somewhere. Getting better at that. Might zoom in a little so y'all can see the technique. So I take my sharp edge here, and on my fleshing beam here, I'm gonna lean down against this beam, put some force if I can. I might have to cleat it down there. And y'all can see it. I think this one's even a little more stubborn than my other ones. Definitely, you got to be aggressive with this scraping. And if you don't put it, the crazy thing is kind of counterintuitive. You don't put enough pressure down on it, then it will like it'll slide, and you'll end up messing the hide up worse. Welcome everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully people got a chance to check out a couple of my shorts if you're interested in this kind of thing. There's some on my apron that kind of snagged me, cut me a little bit. This needs to be tighter on here. This is a huge hide, man. Hopefully it'll take. I put some real strong oak bark tannins on this, and it was oh no, my shorts, bro. Yeah, I do have shorts on. It is hot here, man. I can't do pants today. It's too hot for me. Trying to get that angle right. Doesn't look like I'm picking up numbers like I was before, which is kind of the way they like to do it. That's the way they like to do things, man. Just you know, you think you got it, they remind you. There we go. That's good. There's like a sweet spot on this where you got it flat against the hide and it actually is scraping with both of these sides. Kind of looks like a tool you would pull, but you're supposed to push it as far as I know. Yeah, Kevin said it's hot here in Oklahoma today too. Wonder where Norm's at. He's down there in Oklahoma. Another one of our members, Norm. Shout out Norm wherever you're at. Shout out to my son Dimitri. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, D. Hopefully you get a chance to pop in, but he's probably in school. Three Kings Day today, for the 12th day of Christmas. It's a warm 12th day today. This is called scudding. It's removing what scud is a word for fat, tissue, hair, and other materials that are on the flesh side of the hide. So what we're doing is scraping those, and some people do it all at one time, or they aggressively do this and then they kind of just tan it. But wet scraping, I believe, is the process of kind of doing this a little bit by little as you are tanning it. Seems like a little less labor. It's the same, but it's spread out over time. Thanks, Kevin. I'll make sure I pass that along. Hey, make sure you double tap that screen and like this video. We are getting back here. I'm not surprised it's a little slow this morning. We haven't been on since late December. I spent some time with the family. Hope everybody else got some time with their family. Rest in peace, Robert G. Everybody probably knows Robert G. passed away there in December. I didn't know until a little bit later also. I was very shocked and surprised and, saddened by it. I connected pretty good with Robert. I think a lot of people did, of all kinds of people too. He had that ability to get along with different types of people. Shout out to Carrie, wherever you're at, Carrie. I want to say thank you to Carrie for providing the channel with a gift that allowed us to do a little more work. Oh, Woodshed by Dan said family time was good. That's great. That's great. Oh, some sharp in my some sharp stick in me. I got a video I made about baiting the hide, which is preparing the hide using enzymes to open up the grain. Put that out, or a short. It's kind of a longer short. Something tells me people didn't get alerts today because I think Ava Rose would probably be up in here. Oh, did he? Yeah, 77 Rocket. Shout out, buddy. out there in California. I think Ryan is his name. Nice guy. Got a good channel. Lathe channel. Friendly. Welcoming. You know. More than I can say for some people. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a good one. I hate the camera angle. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I probably because I'm a little flustered too. So like I had kind of a roughish morning. Oh, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, we use Bark, and you know that. That's why you became a member. New member, Kevin. Shout out too. Kevin just became a member the other day. I want to say thank you to Kevin again for that. Oh well, yeah, Woodshed by Dan. No rush. You know, we get to stuff when we get to it. And it's actually not a long form; it's a short. I'm actually still working on my long form about tanning. It's going to be a full experience of first of all using roadkill, right? Talking about roadkill and how roadkill is a kind of ever-present supply of things that would otherwise be wasted, especially the hides, which can be made into beautiful clothing. So it's unfortunate to waste. And then it'll be about tanning and how I went in on a 2-month crash course and tried to learn as much as I could and really absorb information on a digital level. I did not go to the library. That is something I should have done. Gone to the library and also probably ordered some books, but that's money. And so I got to tell people, hey, in order to do this, you got to get this book. So what I wanted to do was kind of synthesize what I learned from Stephen Edholm and a few other people online. And then there are some books that I was able to get a hold of. My dad has a couple in his library at home. I grabbed a couple of those. There are books. Books are valuable. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I had a kind of a rough one today. Yeah, not the greatest way to get up. I think we all have bad days, and I have some of the worst. So this pelt was in and I should say this because this is specific information. This pelt was in a tanning bath while I was away out of town, and that tanning bath became weak, and the pelt started to go through putrefaction. It was basically rotting in there, right? Now you can rescue these hides when they rot. It doesn't smell bad or anything, but I can tell it was no longer tanning. The water had a real funky smell to it. And so what I had to do really here, and I'm starting to lose these legs on the legs take a lot of stress on these beams. I'm trying to find a good design for that. What I want to do is add a brace to the legs probably. I've got a 1x3 I might use for that. They're worse in here too. Against grass, they got a little more stability. It was going through putrefaction. What I'm trying to do is get this thing back on the tanning train. You know, get it into some strong tannins. I collected a bunch of red oak bark that will probably work for that. Tom Orr of Mountain Men. Now, Tom Orr, he really scrapes those hides, man, like split grain. Like I watched him. I've watched that show too. He takes the hide. It wasn't him that I saw take that hide. Was it Tom on there? Tom's generally good at this stuff. But when I saw what they did, the one guy did with the hide, he made it so thin. It was parchment, man. I mean, he made it he took the grain off. He took the skin out. You could see through it. Generally, like if you're making buckskin, you don't want to be able to see through it. It should be white, right? Once you've limed it and dehaired and scudded like and fleshed it, it should be like a white color. There's an episode I watched the other day. I think that was Tom. Maybe this was a different show. I got respect for Tom. Good, smart guy, mountain man guy, trapper too. Also builds crafts items and sells them to the people around and trades, barters. But the hide I saw on Mountain Man the other day, the guy just shaved it so close. I was kind of appalled by how thin it was. Now some guys you can take a thin hide and do some stuff with it. If you put it into a good lime bath and a good brine, it'll thicken back up a little. But he took the grain off and it was transparent. Like you could see through the skin. And that wasn't Tom. I think it was a different guy. You do have to be aggressive, but you can't take it down to where you can put your hand behind it. If you can put your hand behind it and see your hand, it's too thin, right? I don't think it's Tom. It's another guy on that show that probably was here today, gone tomorrow type. The producers don't know the difference between someone who knows what they're talking about or has a feel for something and someone who's just pretending for TV. Like they're just Hollywood people, you know? They might do some research, but people will fool you. So generally what I'm trying to do here is put my body against the post, put my hand on the blade, and then put my body weight down on here, right, when I scrape. You can see the schmutz that's inside of it, like that funky water, is going to come out. I really want that out of there. I don't want further deterioration. I'm going to keep it flat against the beam. I don't want to lose this hide. It's a really big piece of leather. If I can bring it back from the dead, kind of, it would be nice. Oh yeah, there's uses for thin leather. I mean, the way leather is classified is in ounces, but the thinnest is not even in ounces. The stuff you can see with your hand in front of it, that's parchment. That's what like the Constitution was written on. It's so thin. It's been made thin on purpose so that it's when it rolls up and stays in a scroll. You know, the thinner that leather is, the more when you roll it up, it's going to stay in that shape. A thick leather like an 8-ounce leather or a cowhide or a buffalo hide, when you roll that up, it's going to actually want to unroll. Its natural inclination is going to be to want to unroll. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody who knows what they're talking about. But if you go to a leather supply place, it's usually listed in ounces, and it's pressed down by machines to get to those widths. Ricker, welcome, Ricker. Ricker here from Tennessee. Welcome. So leather at the store is going to be classified in ounces, and that's by the thickness. So I don't know how they came up with ounces, but I think it's like a certain square is approximately that many ounces, right? A certain size, like square footage, is that many ounces. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it doesn't like straightening, huh? Yeah, the 8 ounces, like I've got a couple hides in here that I think would classify as 8 ounces. But the reason I think they will is because I put them in a lye solution and they fattened up. And then the baiting, I think. So the baiting, the liming, and the brining are what made those hides thick. My first hide that you'll see in a minute, because I'm going to take it out and put some brains on it. That hide is very thin. So like the thinnest kind of leather, but not parchment, because it has the grain on it. but it's very thin because I never put it through baiting. I never put it through liming. I just put it through brining straight into the tannins, right? This can also be done with like a draw knife, right? But you don't want ferrous metals, particularly on your hide, because with tannins, they will turn black. I collected some oak galls yesterday from a tree that I was familiar with that had galls all around it. Well, Woodshed by Dan says, shoot, I got to get going. I'll see y'all later. Peace, everyone. Hey, DT, how you doing? Depression Talks, welcome. Somebody got a fire going. Smell it. And it's toasty. I'm about to turn on the shop fan. I want to welcome everybody. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. And what I'm doing right now is actually scudding a hide that had sat in some tannins there while I was on out of town. This one sat here. I took most of my stuff with me. I took 3 hides and started them up there. You'll see what they look like, and I'll hold them up next to this one. And you can see how sometimes it's like you got to work smart, not hard, because I've worked real hard on this hide here, but it is not even close to where those ones are. And I just started those about 6-7 days ago. They're like almost tan. So lack of materials here. Just lack of knowledge. I'm learning stuff little bit by little. You got to keep those tannins really strong in there. Really important. So if Ricker's learning the skill of making leather this month, and I did hear Rickard say that one thing he's going to do this year is learn like a skill a month. You got to make sure that you follow the processes. Like start with the prescribed process, you know. And I know Ricker's probably good at that, right? Yeah, but now I don't know what Tennessee's laws are on collecting roadkill, but that's the best supply of it because hunting, you're only going to have 1 or 2 or 3 deer tags or whatever, and you're only going to get, even a good hunter, get a deer or 2, you know, unless you're in for does. Like I prefer doe hunting anyway. The leather of a doe is going to be more supple anyway. Also, it's going to be like more soft, especially for buckskin, like brain tan buckskin. It's going to be softer. Ava, welcome, Ava. Did you get your alert today? Notification? Funky stuff right there. And so I'm worried about this hide because it's very patchy. The color is not even at all. I want to put this in. I want to put this in with those oak galls that I got. I got to show y'all these oak galls. I know there's a tree about 60 miles from here. And this tree is an old shade tree. It goes back a long ways. And the wasps started laying eggs in this tree probably 100 years ago. There are huge galls all around this tree like this big. So I went last night and collected. Hey man, Johnny Bad Blood, I would love to have an elk hide. He said maybe if I get an elk hide next year, I'll let you have it. I would love that. That's a big piece of leather, right? I think I have some deer here that are close, but not, you know, they're all, elk is going to be a size up from that. If you're starting tanning, you also want to start with smaller stuff. Don't start with big stuff. But yeah, Johnny, I'll take that elk hide. Dad's Workshop Calvin at yahoo.com. Email me. Oh, really? Ava said, I wanted to tell you I've seen streams of people skinning whole animal carcasses on YouTube streams. Yeah, it's, when did that happen? Like recently? Did I start a trend or was it something that happened without me? I actually have video skinning the carcasses, but I don't put that on here because they'll, they could demonetize that video because they would refer to that as shocking content. Like if they feel like you're trying to shock viewers into watching, they'll demonetize you. Yeah, moose or bison, bigger than the elk. That's a step up. Bison is the only animal, true, here's a fact, little known fact. Bison is the only animal that does not have enough brains to tan itself. The hide is too big. Can't tan a bison hide with its own brain alone. You have to add brain matter. Not the case. Most animals have enough brain material to tan themselves. I would say maybe in excess in some cases, like deer. They have a lot of brain. Little laggy. Nah, it's probably on YouTube's end. It's probably YouTube's end. Let me check my phone real quick. See what's going on. That helps. This is a huge hide. This feels like an elk hide, man. This was like a 12-point buck right here. This is a big animal. I mean, what I think is a big animal, you know. And it was sizable, like 250 pounds. It was very hard to get in the truck. Actually, I think the rack for this animal is back here. And the only reason it's not intact is because maybe not 12 points. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4, 10. This was the rack from that animal right here. And you can see this antler burr right here is broken because the skull was fractured in this exact location right here. The antlers were knobby and they're beautiful antlers. Really nice piece. So I don't know how to make antler handled anything, but if I did, I'll be using these. Oh yeah. Well, there's other bison are not the only prey that will charge to defend themselves. Buffalo, Cape buffalo in Africa are known for doing that too, and actually wildebeest and some smaller ones will do that as well, especially if there's calves around. My grandfather was a cattle rancher, so I was around calves and their mothers, and it was extremely dangerous. It was more dangerous than being around a bull, because if you get anywhere near the calf, their mother will crush you. And I have had a family member killed by a cow, not a bull. Okay, like my great aunt or I was almost killed by one. My dad and I had to pull this calf out of this poo. Told this story a million times, but hippos are here. They're scary. Dad and I had to pull this calf out of this poo one time. They got down. It was snowing outside. He was up to his like shoulders in poo. What happens then is the calf's face will get in the mud and they'll suffocate. So the mother can't do anything about that, but she will get mad if you try to help the calf. So my dad and I had to pull the calf out of the shit. Excuse my language. And the mother tried to crush us both, so we had to jump over the fence a couple times to get that. It took a couple goes of jumping fences, like like a rodeo rider does, kind of. Moose will definitely attack you. They are very dangerous. There's actually Ava, I'm kind of surprised you said that. There's quite a bit of prairie animals, pasture land animals that are extremely dangerous. I would say particularly the Cape buffalo. Johnny Bad Blood, what state am I in? This is North Carolina here. State of North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina to be specific. Let me get this schmutz down here. Then I'll move on to my next. I really like to scrape this white, but I actually don't think that's going to happen here. I think a lot of the scud's actually off. I mean, it still needs scudding, but I'm not going to. It's not as much as I maybe thought originally. See, even as I scrape down, it's still brown. So I don't think it's going to get all the way white. Generally, when I'm scudding, I'm trying to scud down all the way till it's like whitish. But this has been in tannins for a couple weeks now. Got to put body weight down on it too. If you're making one of these beams, all it is just a half a log, right? A log cut in half with 2 legs attached to the sides. And the legs attached to the sides need to be low enough that you could lay a hide on it and work the hide. Ava Rose said, I probably said this before, but I was born in North Carolina, now in West Virginia. I don't know the exact place I was born, though, in North Carolina. Never really asked or had to use that information, so I never learned it. Well, if you find out, let me know. Some tells me, Ava, it's out west. Like, I bet you're from, like, if I was going to guess, if you're in West Virginia, that means you're like mountain folk. So I'm going to say you're from Asheville, Hickory, somewhere out in the west, I bet. Charlotte. Charlotte's not really mountains, but it's way far west of here. This is the coastal plain. North Carolina obviously has a very varying regional climate, water table type system. Like Ricker's in Tennessee, Western North Carolina borders Tennessee, Maggie Valley, Cherokee. So if you're in Eastern Tennessee, the mountainous region of Tennessee, it's basically the same thing as Western North Carolina. Yeah. Out there, out west, Asheville, which is a beautiful town, by the way. Unfortunately damaged by the floods recently. The storms and the floods hit that town really hard. Really hard. City. It's a city, not a town. I should have rounded off this leg and not even included this on the hide here. I'm not even worried if I tear it a bit. These legs kind of fall behind. So another thing I've learned here is probably in the future I'll round the hides off. All legs and all these little thin pieces of bits of leather that would be not really included in the main hide anyway. I would just put them aside and tan them separately. A lot of things I'm learning, like efficiency wise. Lions, what's up, man? Still doing them skins, man. I don't quit stuff very easily. I don't know if you noticed. I'm a stick-to-itive guy. I got that stick-to-itiveness. This is an older hide, buck hide right here. It's got some coloration issues on this side. So what I'm trying to do is scud this thing and get it in some stronger tannins, which I have devised because I was in a different region where I was able to collect some oak, real strong oak bark, which I wish I could show you right now. I'll do a little show and tell maybe on tomorrow's thing where I'll show you all the oak galls, which you can use for woodwork, by the way, too. Oak galls are like really nice as inlays. They're almost like burls, like mini burls. If y'all know what burl is, for my woodworker / attendees right now. Calvin, when do you know you have scraped enough? I kind of just like look at the hide and see, is there a lot of scud? Like here's a spot. See this spot right here, how lumpy that is? Kind of looks like torn up paper and stuff. That is not acceptable. I want to scrape that loose stuff off. Like right here, what you're seeing here. I want that stuff off. And then I'll probably leave this hide alone. It's like a lot of scrape. It's very laborious. You know, if you don't do all the scraping right early on in the process, it's a little scraping at a time, you know, or a moderate amount of scraping at a time several times. My other hides are a little better than this one. I'll show you them in a second. My newer ones. This is one I processed about a month ago. It was in salt, and then it had an issue in the brine where it lost its fur. So I was trying to keep the pelt on this one. It didn't work out. I took this hide and moved it into brine and then into a tannin solution, which weakened drastically over time. And then the hide started going through putrefaction and not tanning anymore. So what I need to do now, scrape it, get the mess off of it, put it back into a tanning solution that's stronger, that can handle a hide that's like 8 foot long. It's huge. I mean, it's not 8 feet, but I'm exaggerating, but it's huge though. This was a big animal. Healthy animals out here this year. Seen a lot of them. I'm probably going to stop in just a second and throw this in the tub and show y'all some of the other ones. Good question, though. I would love to learn more about where I was born. Mom said that peacocks showed up outside. Yeah, those aren't native to the U.S., but maybe somebody had them. And I feel like pressure washer would cause more issues than. You're right, Ava. It does. Most people don't know how to do it with pressure washers. It's way trickier than it looks. When people do it, they've practiced it a bunch. All right. So let me show you. Let me hold up both of them, actually, even though I just got that one wet again. This is progression, right? In my left hand is a hide that I started tanning at least 3 weeks ago. It's kind of crappy looking. It's got patchiness and all that. In my right hand is a hide that I started tanning less than a week ago. Y'all see that right there is what we refer to as marked improvement, right? Because you see that the penetration here is nothing like that here. This hide went through baiting and bucking in a lime solution, then brining, and then it got tanned with very strong tannins. This one didn't go through all those processes, just bucking, and then I didn't bait it. It went through brining and then went straight into some weaker tannins. So you learn over time. You live and you learn. Also different materials. So it's not entirely fair. But not only did I do this one, I got 3 of these like this that all look like this, and they all feel thick like 8-ounce leather. You know, so maybe imperfections on them, but they're going to be nice craft leather. Hit that like button, folks. Now y'all can see what that beautiful red oak bark does to a hide. Beautiful, man. It smells good too. It smells like oak potpourri. It smells like oak in the, you know, you're in a, I don't know, like someone has built something out of oak that's heating in the sun. You know, that is what it smells like. We got Mike is making stuff in the house. Mike is making stuff. Welcome. This was baited with pineapple skin and papaya skin, which both have enzymes in them that are proteolytic. They actually dissolve proteins, fats, things like that. So those enzymes help break those fibers up, open them up to the tannins, and so you get a better tannin penetration like that. Also, scud and schmutz that's on the hide loosens up, so it's easier to scrape. Right there, I made a little bit of a mistake. The knife slid a little, so you're gonna have like a little crescent-shaped cut, and it happens. You know, when you do these by hand, you see a lot of hand pellets like this. You'll see those little scrapes where the knife went sliding to the one side. Apparently, it's pretty common. Happens when you don't apply enough force downward on it. See, I want to lean down and then put my body weight behind it, right? And if I don't, or if it gets a wrinkle like that, sometimes you end up with a cut. Now, early on, you can scrape them out. But as the hide gets more tan, it's kind of finishing up, and you don't have as much leeway to do that anymore. This is tanned with red oak bark. I made some very strong bark liquor, as they refer to it as, bark liquor. And it sat in that. Then it, you know, there's a video on it. You can check the video out. I got a video on a short on how I made my bark liquor, or I made the bark liquor, and you kind of have it. Educate, entertain, inspire. That's what we do. Not bad, man. Just getting on a train home. Well, ride safe. Pull the little string for me that goes ding, ding, or whatever. Hopefully they don't come to your seat and find that you don't have a ticket. When I was in England, If they found that you didn't have a ticket, it was a £5 fee on the spot. If you couldn't pay it, you got locked, you got arrested. That was at Victoria Station. I think I flew in, this was 1999, but I flew into Gatwick Airport, was taking the train from Gatwick Airport to London, and there was a sign that said, if you're found without a ticket, it's a £5 penalty. I didn't even know they would do something like that. He said, cheers, fella. Ava, great question. Yeah, it should be scraped till it's white, but you can also break it up over several times, right? I scraped this hide till it was almost white the other day. It took me probably just this one hide, probably took me about an hour or more, probably more like 2 hours. And then I was like, well, I got more on there, but it's not as much. So there's not as much scudding, but yeah, generally you want to scrape the hide till it's pretty much white. I'm going to not do that on here today. I'm going to kind of go between. I spread it out over, this is called wet scraping, when you spread it out over a large period of time. The tanning process, you're scudding throughout the process. It also helps the hide absorb more tannins when you scud. It presses the fluid out of the hide. And then, you know, like a sponge gets too much water in it. Hide has that same quality. It will absorb too much fluid and then be saturated to where it can't absorb anymore. So you got to wring it out or scrape it out. If you wring it out too hard, you end up with this pebble look that you all are probably really familiar with. If I showed it to you, looks like little pebbles. It's pretty common texture for leather, but it's a sign that leather was made quickly. But then you buy a ticket and they don't check it. Do I just get a refund? Train companies are dumb. Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's kind of tough to like tell somebody you need to produce money on the spot. It's done in other parts of the world. You don't see that usually in the US. They just assume everybody's a vagrant here, and they're probably right in a lot of cases. You know, here you get on the bus driver will catch you if you don't put your fare in the thing. One more quarter, one more dollar. That came off like butter right there. So that's because it was just strictly because of downward pressure, right? See? That's really what you're supposed to see. That strip that's going down the middle? That's probably what you're trying to get. So Ava, that kind of answers your question. That's what you're really supposed to be doing. I'm giving it kind of like a once over scrape. Mike's out of here. See you later. Mike's talking about piebald deers. Love piebald deer. I saw one on the Outer Banks of North Carolina when I was out there at the beach with Heather. The only one I've ever seen in my life in person. There's apparently a lot of them out there because the population is isolated. The skin is white. The tannin is dark red, I would say. Brick red, maybe. Kind of looks brown from where you're at, but it's a reddish hue. This is the flesh side though. That's the grain side. So when you see leather, you usually see the grain side line. So that's grain side, right? This is the flesh side, or what you would see as the suede side. So when you're making leather, you have to really scrape the mess out of this side constantly to make sure there's no fat or flesh or hair or any of that. Well, it shouldn't be hair on the flesh side, but you got to scrape that flesh and fat off. That's the flesh. And this would be what you would call, you know, this is the leather, what you would think of as leather. You can see there's some broken grain there. But in general, I'm really happy with the color. Quality of the tannins is really good. Yep, you just scrape some more. Keep scraping. And I probably won't scrape it all the way today. I'll just scrape it, give it a rudimentary scraping, put it back in the tannins, and then scrape again next time. And every time I get a little more off until it's pretty clean. The key, like, to getting those stripes out though, is leaning against it and putting body weight down on the knife, right? They call it bulldozing. It's a slang term for it. You're actually producing downward pressure. You're leaning against the beam, and then you're pushing forward. The old expression is that good leather is made in a beam house, right? So these things that you do are what makes the leather good. Not so much the quality of the ingredients, those matter, but how you treat the hide, how much you scrape it, baby it, oil it, let it dry slowly, and rehydrate it and moisturize multiple times. That's what makes the leather good. Almost 40 likes. Let's hit that like button, folks. Boost me up to 40 likes today. I'd love to see that. A little slow today. I feel a little slow. It's hot here for me. Not big on heat in the wintertime, man. I know people call it nice. You'll never hear me refer to the heat in the middle of the winter as nice. It's just not built for it, dude. If it gets above 60, I have to wear shorts. I can't function in like normal people clothes. I get too hot. Y'all can see that liquid that's coming out too. We want that to go out too, like I say, so it reabsorbs more tannins when it goes back in the tannin liquor or the bark liquor. This feels like it's probably somewhere between like 6 and 8 ounce leather. It's very thick, and that I give credit to the liming for that. Another process you would see in the beam house, right? It went into a sodium hydroxide solution. I actually drove a couple 100 miles with it shaking around in that lye bath. So it got agitated. When I got there, it was like rubbery. Very thick, very rubbery. Then I washed it. Then I put it in a baiting solution, which was made with the papaya and the pineapple. Then I brined it with vinegar and salt for a couple days, and then I added tannins, and it absorbed quickly. Not very hard. This is a messy process. I don't know if you guys know this, but in the Middle Ages, tanneries would have been outside the castle walls, like outside of the bastion walls, right? Outside of the village, because of the smells and the kind of filth of it. It's not, it's not as filthy now. I didn't like what they call puer, which is put my hide into like feces and urine, which is something that they did traditionally. I baited this with fruit to avoid having to do that. As I scrape this, I can still see what I think is residue from the baiting process. So you got to scrape these things repeatedly to make sure you get all that stuff out. Also pushes those edges out. Oh, Ava said it's always a good day for me when I catch your streams. Thank you, Ava. That's very sweet of you. All right, we're going to take this hide, not completely scraped. We're going to throw it in. Now I'm going to pull out one that looks almost identical to it. That one here, so I don't forget, because they look the same. I can't tell the difference. Actually, might bring both of these out. The way I was collecting tannins before by hand on the ground would have never worked for these hides, because these hides had there was so much volume. I wouldn't have been able to collect that much material. This one's actually pretty nice here. It's a smaller one. This is a doe hide. Y'all can kind of see. Pretty nice, right? That's actually a nice clean grain too. There's not as many defections in the grain. All right, let's give this one. This one may have been scraped better last time, and that's why. Where did I put my scraping knife? Pilato. Oh, there we go. I don't need St. Anthony. Thank goodness. All right, and after I scrape this one and the next one, I want to show y'all how I'm going to apply this brain solution that I just made. I made a fresh brain emulsion, and I'm going to apply it to a hairless raccoon hide I have, a squirrel hide, and my first finished piece of leather that you all have seen before, but has been over dried now. So it sat around. When I was with my sons, I didn't have time to do this stuff as much, and I let that hide sit there. And you got to re-oil and you got to rehydrate and keep providing moisture to these hides so that they don't dry too hard and brittle. So it needs to be re-moisturized. The brain, the egg, the oils and stuff, what they do is replace what used to be the moisture. So when you have skin on your body, it's flexible because of water, right? And whatever oils are in there that you have. But when it's gone, like when it's off your body, it no longer has a supply of water. So the best way to keep that skin supple is through, moisturizers, oils, actually in combination with water. That's why we use brains, because it emulsifies oils and beads them in the water finally, right? Like I said, there's a sweet spot on the scraper. If I can get it where you can catch both edges right and it's like flat and you're getting like double scraping. Kind of hard to get that though and apply the right pressure. Generally, the technique is to stay towards the top here, right? And then move the hide. And I'm just learning. Y'all know this. This is something I'm just learning now. So what you would do is then move it up and do the same thing and stay close to the top of the beam. Scut or bulldoze this down, right? Move it up again, do the same thing until you're all the way down at the bottom of the hide. Use your body weight against it, and then you lean down, put your body weight down onto it when you're scraping as well. There's a sharp side on this scraper, a blade side and a flat side. You can use both of them. But right now I've been using the sharp side because it's kind of early in the process. So there's still a lot of material. The hair is harder to clean up. The buckets and buckets of hair that these hides produced on my last live stream that I did in late December, that was these hides that I was removing the hair from. It didn't all come off, so I did another bucking bath there where it got put into sodium hydroxide solution. You can also use calcium hydroxide by cooking shells up if you want to bushcraft it. You get shells, burn them until the shell is white all the way through. Break it open. That should be calcium hydroxide, which is like the calcium version of lye. It's a caustic agent, and that would help if you want to do bucking that way. You can do it that way also. There's also potassium hydroxide, which is another sister of sodium hydroxide, and some people use that. Some people try wood ashes. It's not very consistent. You have to be careful what kind of ashes you have and what kind of, how many hides you're trying to do, because that's kind of like a play around with it thing, like making a battery out of a potato. You don't really want to do it for an actual, you don't want an actual battery made out of potato. You just want to know how to do it, right? Mm. Yeah, I find this wet scraping method is like the way I like to do it. I don't like to try to take everything off at once. It's just too labor intensive at one time. You burn out. So take it over several days and I can handle it. This is the neck area right here. So one of the thickest parts of the hide is where you slip the most. It's easiest to slip up here. So I can see where I slip right there, causing a rift there in the flesh side. All the way to those edges. Boom. All right. Do you have a buyer lined up for your finished product, Calvin? I sold all my hides to a guy in Colorado. No, I don't think it's going to be hard for me to get a buyer lined up. The leather's going to look good. So when I flip it out on here, I'll probably get a buyer pretty easily. Or my idea is actually to use this to make items. Like I want to make a hat. I want to make a wet molded backpack, kind of like what you see in that show Fallout. The girl has on the show Fallout. It's really cool. You take basically make it's woodwork and leather work together. You got to make a box, and then you got to make a frame that slips over it. Put your weather, you wet your leather, and you push this thing down to clamp it down, and it shapes it out. Yeah, I haven't sold anything yet. I may not sell anything. My folks asked me the same question. I didn't know how to answer it because I wanted to do stuff with the leather, but of course, if the price is right, I will sell it. It's kind of hard to make the right kind of money for something that takes so much work, you know. I had a guy comment on one of my videos that he got paid by the piece the other day, and he was like, "These kids can't do this work." That's what he said. He wasn't talking about me. I don't think. At least I didn't take it that way. I was literally busting my butt to try to, well, figuratively busting my butt. Let's do this a little bit right here. Rudimentary scrape. Oh, let me get this spot right here. This is pretty bad. So I'm trying to find the spots I missed when I scraped last time, when I scudded last time, and focus on those really uneven spots. Hold on one second. I'm going to go I'm going to put this hide back in for now. And I'm going to turn my fan on because I'm hot. Thanks for the likes. Hey, my name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. We're working on leather here. We're tanning this leather. We're not working on leather. That's different. That's leather work. We're tanning this leather. This is the next piece. I had 3 that were all kind of tanned with the same process here. This is oak bark tanned here. It's a deer hide. This one's kind of a medium large one. I remember this one was the one that was hanging in here for a minute, kind of funky. This deer got hit real close to my house. It was see, Not much scud on there actually. This one's almost clean. Kind of looks like I figured out what I was doing. I guess to answer Ava Rose's question accurately, you don't have to make the hide white every time, but if there's scud that's raised above, because like the part that's red here is actually scraped. It's pretty well clean. But you want to keep working at it and making sure that there's anything raised, any flesh or fat or tissue on the flesh side, you want to be scraping at it and trying to get that off. Well, actually successfully getting that off. Let's see if it came back. Is it? Nah, I don't think it came back, guys. Nah, you don't want to disconnect. I'll probably wrap it up for today then, if that's going to be what it is. But let's see what it. Nah, not generally. Nah, we're all right. It's fine. It's coming back. Nah, it's not better to do a new stream. What you want to do is kill the window, and then they give you an option to resume. That will keep you from like having. It won't send out alerts with the new stream, right? So you don't want to do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. We had a little momentary disconnection. Those are usually on YouTube's end when those happen, not on the streamers, just so you guys know. It's not people leaving the stream or anything like that. It's YouTube's bandwidth or something. It has to do with their server, not us usually. Big old piece of scud right there. Got that. This is the cleanest one of all of them, I think. Like I said, these legs I probably would not include on my next hide. I'll round it. They call it rounding off when you cut it into a standard shape like a square. It's easier to manage. This is Dad's Workshop. I am scudding a hide that's being bark tanned. This particular hide is a white-tailed deer. I don't know if this is a male or female. I think this is a female. This is 2 does and a buck that I have in the tanning liquor right now. Well, actually, I have a second large buck also. That's a different batch. That's here also that y'all saw first. 50 likes. Let's go. LFG, folks. 50 likes on Dad's Workshop. Hello and welcome. This is a piece of leather that is being made right now. All right. Using oak tannin, right? It's going to be a nice dark, like cherry, black cherry type color. It'll get darker and darker, and then when it dries, it'll get even darker, like what you're about to see, which hopefully is still moisturized. I'm tempted to put this back in the tannins too, but right now I want to show y'all a little brain tanning. I'm gonna wet this a bit. This is my my dough hide that you all saw me finish a while back. I got a powerful fan, so I gotta make sure I do it this way. It really dried out. So what we're gonna do, and I mean really dry, stayed in a roll. So I had to like ooh, that's gonna be not good. Not good. No, actually not bad. Here we go. So some of this crystallization of this white stuff right here, that happens when it dries too fast. Got some schmutz on it from the ground there. I'm not happy about that because there's salt down there. That'll hurt the grain side. We're going to take this hide right here, and I'm going to start with the other side. And first, I'm going to spray all that salt that just got on there off. Fell on the floor. That was stupid. I don't want it too wet, but I don't want that stuff on there either. All right, we'll go to the flesh side here. And what we are going to do is we are going to apply a mixture of brain, egg yolks. I actually put some patchouli oil in there too. It smells really good. And generally olive oil, but I didn't put any olive oil in this mixture here. Oh, I put deer tallow in there. Tallow from the leg of the deer. I when I was butchering the deer, I saved the tallow, which is the fat on the inside of the leg, solid fat. Probably, I'm a little like jumpy today. I kind of had a rough morning, so if you forgive my little bit of skittishness, it's like it's just, you know, I have to pretend to be always in a good mood. You know how that is. This is like educational. See this stuff right here? It's brains, right? Brains emulsify, so it spreads the fat in the water, it beads up, right? Add a little warm water to it. It's not apple juice, it's brains. It should say brain juice. Oh, it smells good too. It smells like patchouli. If you put it on your hands and rub your hands right, you will notice that you get the most moist, like your hands become incredibly moisturized. I'm kind of surprised they don't use brains and lotions, but I guess it wouldn't be too popular. Oh man, it smells good. I had some old brain formula and I was not being shy about using it, but I think it finally reached its, like it was gross today when I smelled it. I was like, I'm not using that. I mean, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter. Even rot is like, when you're finishing a piece of leather, there's some benefits to things like working at your leather. So it makes you less scared of stink and things like that. There's a lot of things I think it changed about me. Not the least of which is my stomach for bad smells. I used to have a weak stomach as a kid and a young adult. Couldn't see somebody throw up, you know, couldn't smell too bad of a smell. I would always be the first person who, if you're drunk, would be throwing up, you know. So, you know, but you know, Bath and Body Works and places like that sell lotion, and lotion is made with uh, acetylstearate and polystearate, and these come from the inside of cows, like the pancreas. So there are animal products in lotions. They don't just, it's not something they like to talk about, but uh, I'm trying to remember the exact name of it, but it's stearate. It's actually an emulsifier. It makes lotion cream-like. You can't make a cream-like lotion without having an emulsifier, and most emulsifiers are animal-based. The only one I can think of that's not is soy lecithin, and soy lecithin is got its own problems, you know, the soy industry and all of that. So after I moisten this hide with this brain emulsion, I'm going to like roll it back up, and then I'll check on it tomorrow and probably add another. This also has a deer tallow, so very thick fat. I could probably stick it to a board. Probably be the best thing to do. As you're doing this, they call this breaking. If you have a cable, I'm actually going to break my actual beam right now because it's teetering so bad right now. I need to put a brace on there. But you want to break this thing against some, right? A wire, a rope, in your hands, pull it, and then watch. I want to show y'all something up close here. This is also part of the breaking process. Let's see if we can do this. You should see those grains opening up and turning light, right? Right. Now I'm going to add more oil so it fills those in. Once you open those grain up, that grain up, you want to add more oil material. I should have pulled it a little bit. Where's all the other people in the chat? Probably not in the chat, Ava. When it went down, they probably rolled out. That tallow actually softened up quite good in there. The other thing you can use is neat's foot oil, which comes from the feet bones of deer. I actually extracted some myself. I kept it with my brain, so it's not like distinguishable from the brains. It's in the same container. It's a very fine, clear oil. Has no smell, and it penetrates very well. It's traditionally used for leather bucking and breaking, breaking of leather and softening. Oh, Kevin said he's still here. Thank you, Kevin. Shout out new member, Kevin. You can almost see better that way. So when I pull these, the grain opens and you see it turn light. That's when you want to apply more oil, more brain emulsion, get those gaps filled in. So it's, like I said, it's substituting for the water that would be in your skin, the hydration in your skin. Oil material substitutes for that. This piece of leather, I started on like November 5th. So that kind of gives you an idea of how long it takes to finish one piece of leather. It's not even done yet because it's not really usable while it's as stiff as it is. It has to be worked more. I really need a cable. This was a small deer. Glad you're not alone. I'm going to take out my hairless raccoon hide and my squirrel hide and do the same thing I'm doing on here with those. But they should accept it better because they've been in tannins. And I'm actually going to put them back in tannins after I put the brain emulsion on them again. Hopefully that'll just soften them up a little bit. It smells really good. That patchouli oil is like one of my favorite smells. Put this back in the oak, it'll smell like oak and patchouli. I always loved the way the leather store smelled when I was a kid at the mall. There's this leather store. It was nothing but leather coats and leather goods. And it had a great smell. It went all the way down the hallway. I think those were bark tan leathers too. So probably some of the last tanneries working on those. Very expensive. Everything in that shop was expensive. So we're gonna pull it out, open the grain up, pull. And up here I got some brittleness too, right near the nape of the neck. See, that's a piece of tallow right there. Like the tallow holds it in place. So if I'm trying to straighten this hide out and flatten it, I take some of this tallow and I stick the corners down with it. I don't know, maybe if Mike was still in here, Native American dude, he would tell you about the tallow. They use that to stick their hides down, I think, as I recall. It's a real thick, it's a fat substance that will be solid at room temperature, right? Similar to a beeswax. I've had a lot of fun making furs and leathers from roadkill animals. So it's a kind of renewable resource. People run over animals and they just get wasted. So why not make awesome leather products and fur products out of them? If I'm an organ donor, so I don't mind people using my organs when I go. You know, like kind of my thing. Not really. I think people there's two things: they're grossed out by it, or they don't like the animals being used. But it does grab their attention. Oak Ridge taxidermist, welcome. I'm doing well, man. How are you doing, Oak Ridge? You have to see the beginning of the video, Oak Ridge. I got 3 hides that I did with bark tannins that are looking really good. In my opinion, you know. Gotta find that squirrel hide. Squirrel hide. The squirrel hide is hiding. Tiny, tiny little, tiny thing. It's probably hidden in one of these. Oh, y'all should see these leg hawks that I did in oak. They look good too. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna show you the difference in tannins. Right now, you're gonna get a lesson in how tannins can all look different. All right. So these are leg hawks that I did, over the last few days in oak bark tannin, right? Dark reddish, black, brown, that's what you got, right? So these are leg hawks, and they've been fleshed in hair too, like de-haired. Oh, there's still a piece of pineapple on there. This, let me turn the great value thing around. So we're not advertising great value here today. This is the difference in color between pecan and a mimosa, right? This is a squirrel hide. It's like a tan color, right? And this is a raccoon hide with mimosa and pecan, right? A brownish, brown tan, light color. Not quite as light as the squirrel, but light. And then this is oak bark tannins, right? So you see pecan is like that, and mimosa and oak bark is like that. I hope the camera can see. Oak bark, pecan. Yeah, I like the way they look too, man. especially the deep red. Like this guy who has a skill cult guy, Steven, whose name I bring up pretty frequently. Uh, he all of his hides look like this, and I was super jealous. But I just went in the woods and found a bunch of fallen red oak, you know, and that's what I used. I also got an entire deer's head, like skull, skin, the whole skin from the whole head. It's actually in tannins, and it didn't lose the hair. So we're gonna see how it came out. I'm gonna leave it in there for a bit. It got a little funky when I was out of town. We're gonna leave it in there, and I'll show y'all what this like cape face basically looks like after it's been tanned in bark tannins. I think it's almost preserved. These can be used for specific things here because they have this curvature, right? This is like the, I don't know what they call that back of the deer's leg right here where there's this joint, right? And the skin is supple here. So they have uses, but it has to have like something like a nipple there, right? So you have to work that into your design. I didn't really plan on scudding those. I might as well though while I'm here. Let me scud those real quick. Those aren't hard. I got a dog at the bottom of the beam. The little one's kind of hard to keep in place. Come on now, stay there. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease. This is almost like sinew right here. There's a little tissue that kind of runs down the hawk. I believe it's that reflex tissue they have so that if there's a fly on them, it like bounces their skin so the fly will jump off. Kind of something they evolved to have. Oh, you like the Oh, I think they're yeah, Sesame Street today. Somebody gave me Sesame Street socks for Christmas. So whatever socks I get are the socks I wear. Not ashamed of it. Yeah, I see Big Bird on there. I didn't pay too much attention. Hey, Cal, everyone. Everyone just stopping by. Smash that like button. I'll listen while I clean up the shop. Thanks, soldier. Appreciate you being here. Shout out. This is a squirrel hide. I understand these are some very desirable hides. So when I convince my folks to let me hunt squirrel in the woods there, they've got so much squirrel. It's like honestly way overpopulated. The squirrels are dominating every other animal in their woods. So I think I probably could eat a couple squirrels and it wouldn't be inhumane of me. But my mom is a soft-hearted lady, and I want to respect her property. But there are those squirrels. They almost look at me like, "Are you going to kill us today? Are you going to do that?" And I'm like, "Nope. Today you lucked out." Yeah, I can see why they would say this has a really nice texture to it. Very like very fine suede texture to it on the flesh side. I can see why people would say that's nice. It's definitely got a nice feel to it. Soft. Hard when you get to these little bits like this. Let's put some brain stuff on this. Just keep it soft. Keep it soft. Again, a brain emulsion made with deer brain and also some neat's foot oil, which is the oil from the leg of the deer. Some tallow, some deer tallow, which is solid fat, and then egg yolks. That's what I used in this emulsion. So brains, neat's foot oil, beef, not beef tallow, deer tallow, and egg yolks. I'm tempted to throw stuff in the fat liquor because I've seen that done. Fat liquor, one word, by the way. I understand it makes really soft pieces to do that. This is a spot right here where it needs to be. This is the neck. I've already told y'all the neck of is the trickiest spot on these animals because it's always thicker. The flesh comes off less readily, and then it wants to slide your knife, right? So when you're trying to scud, it wants to slide the knife and then put a cut in itself, and you don't want that. All right, so that is, and it feels soft now that it's gotten that the fatty liquor. Okay, just so that I can, because I love y'all, I wanted to say thank you for being here. Welcome back to Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. This is a raccoon. Summer, the dog, is behind the camera. This is Dad's Workshop, and I appreciate you being here today. So I'm gonna wait till y'all file in. Hopefully you do, so that I can say bye and say my thanks to y'all, show my appreciation. The dog's the camera person. Yeah. Are you filing back in? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, so much. I thank you so much for coming. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. This is a raccoon hide that has been in tannins for a minute. It was in some weak tannin solution there, though, so it's going to get put in some stronger stuff. But I'm going to actually apply this brain tanning fatty liquor that I made real quick. And then I'm going to roll out, guys. And we'll see you again, hopefully tomorrow, God willing. You know, we never have anything guaranteed to us, as we were reminded recently. We're always reminded of that we don't have tomorrow guaranteed. So I'm thankful for today. I'm grateful for you all. I'm grateful to be here doing this thing that I enjoy. Wish my morning started a little better, but it didn't. And that's how life works. Some days are good, some days are bad. You know, some days are in between. And it wasn't a bad day, but I started a little rough. Love y'all. I'm gonna liquor this real quick with this. This, like I told y'all, for those of y'all that missed, this is a brain emulsion mixture here. It has tallow, brain, uh, egg yolks, and neat's foot oil and patchouli. And I put some patchouli in there just to help the smells. I mean, brains don't smell, but the patchouli makes it smell good. I hope it gets better too. Thank you, Abe. Appreciate you coming through too. Let me scrape that spot. That spot looks like it can use a scraping right by the neck. Like I just said a minute ago on that squirrel. Same thing. Hey, get down from there. Get out. All right, y'all. Take care. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Hopefully, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. This is Dad's Workshop. My name is Calvin. You all take care. Oh, thank you, Ava. Thank you. Shout out, Ava. Appreciate the gift.